Is it just the fact that, Peter Borges is more comfortable there, so we're looking for him to have a good year too?
Well, you're thinking Mike Trout, after playing center field, he can play any of the positions out in the outfield. And with Peter Borges, I think he's a solidified center fielder. If he probably can play left or right, but I think he's just more comfortable sitting there in the center field, controlling that outfield. And with both their speeds, Mike Trout and Peter Borges, you just have the outfield of anybody that they can both run, they can both get to the ball quickly, and with Peter Borges and Mike Trout, that outfield must be shut down.
It'll be a good outfield. I mean, you got to think, if Josh Hamilton has a good defensive year, it'll be a great defensive outfield. My number 5 coming in, St. Louis Cardinals. I know you had them down
I
at
have
your...
them at number 9.
You're number 9, so we kind of switched number 5s and 9s
there you go.
But, not bad. I agree. Mike Matheny, great coaching year last year, coming in for Tony La Russa right after they won the World Series. I mean, you can't argue with the fact that they almost made it again.
Mm-hmm.
They had the Giants on the ropes, but I mean, you can't think that anything like that might happen again. You got to think that with the infield they have a great defensive infield. They signed Ty Wigginton.
Yep, that's going to be some good depth over there in first and third.
First and third can play for Alan Craig. I know Alan Craig doesn't play every day. I just switch him out of my lineup a lot in fantasy, but he's in there. And then you also got to think, they have a good closer in Mott. Mm-hmm. You figure he's going to give you a good solid 9th inning to at least give you a chance to win the game if you're ahead. Blown saves happen every now and again, but he will be solid for them at the end of the games. Their major question for me is health. I mean, you got to think with their starting rotation, their biggest problem has been Chris Carpenter, Adam Wainwright getting hurt. Mm-hmm. And people stepped up last year, but if you look at it, they were kind of sputtering out at the end, trying to grind together games, get people together to solidify their rotation, and then Wainwright comes back for the postseason, so does Carpenter, and they seem to do pretty well. So if they can stay healthy, like we were talking about earlier, they have a legitimate shot at the NL Central.
Yeah, and with Matt Holliday and Carlos Beltran, consistent players all year, they'll be pretty good in that lineup just to get those runs up from last year, maybe.
They definitely do not miss Albert Pujols. You can tell.
We saw that after last season.
We did.
And at my number 5, finally number 5, we got the defending champions and the San Francisco Giants. And the reason why I put the San Francisco Giants at number 5 is because they are the defending champs, and I believe that they deserve to be in the top 5 just because of that. But that offense, I just can't see that working with the improved pitching of the Diamondbacks with Brandon McCarthy, and the Dodgers with Zach Greinke and the Korean pitcher of Hyun Jin Ryu. With that, the Giants' offense is lacking, but the pitching, that's all you think about is when you hear the San Francisco Giants. Tim Lincecum had a down year last year. Do you think he's going to really do that again this year? Probably not. But Matt Cain, he's going to have 2.5 ERA, maybe even less than that. He's going to have 20 wins this year, I'm thinking. Madison Bumgarner, great left-handed pitcher, great postseason pitcher. And I just think that with that pitching staff and that bullpen with Sergio Romo closing, I believe that that's going to be the key factor for the NOS title for the San Francisco Giants. I
agree. The one thing you got to think about is Tim Lincecum. He should be hungry for this year, so he should come back. There are 4 or 5 pitchers, Vogelsong, Zito. They're good, tough pitchers, and they can get through a Rockies team or a Padres team, some of those lower division teams. But when it comes down to it, when they need that big game, are they going to be there for them when Cain, Bumgarner, and Lincecum can't go for them?
Well, I think Vogelsong you can think he's going to be there more times than not, because Vogelsong, he played over here in the MLB, went over to the Japan League, came back over. Giants took a chance on him, and he turned out to be what a great pitcher since coming back over from Japan. And I think he's going to be a great pitcher to, if they have a losing streak and he's up for the next start, I believe he's going to turn that losing streak into a winning streak.
Okay. Moving on, my number 4 is going to have to be the Detroit Tigers. Now, the Tigers made it to the World Series last year, opposing the Giants, and you got to figure they had a great year. I mean, everyone had high expectations for them going into last year. Signed Prince Fielder. Of course, who can forget Miguel Cabrera's great year? I mean, Triple Crown.
Yeah.
You don't see that often. I mean, that just shows how great of a hitter he is.
Yeah.
They signed Torii Hunter.
Torii Hunter.
He's going to patrol right field for him. You got to figure, great defensive player even in his old age.
Mm-hmm.
Can still swing the bat a little bit, so that adds to their lineup. Of course, still have Justin Verlander, one of the best pitchers in the game.
Yeah.
I mean,
once you just hear Justin Verlander, that's all you need to say.
Exactly. I mean, 100 in the 8th inning. Who's gonna hit that when you're in the 8th inning? Few questions might be their catcher. You never know. I mean, Avila's a good catcher, solid catcher.
Mm-hmm.
There's really no depth there behind him for when he needs a day off or if he gets hurt. They lost Jose Valverde, a great closer. He's still a free agent, I believe.
Yeah, I think he's going to sign elsewhere, though.
Yeah.
The Tigers already said that they're probably not going to sign him, so.
He's getting up there in age.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right now listed as their closer is Phil Koch.
Yeah. That's kind of questionable right there.
That's probably the most questionable part about their lineup. Also, left field's a little bit open. They could have some depth there. Quentin Berry, great guy in the postseason last year, came through for him, getting on base. He might slot in at left field. You never know. They have a solid team who can go deep, and they could get back to the World Series this year if they play well.
And the back end of the rotation, you got Max Scherzer and Anibal Sanchez, Rick Porcello. I mean, those 3 guys are going to be the key parts this year, don't you think?
Yes, I agree. I mean, signing Anibal Sanchez to that $80 million deal, that solidifies that they really liked him.
Yep.
So they have to be he has to be worth something to them. And slotting in at maybe the 3 or the 2 spot in their rotation, Max Scherzer, his name's a little difficult, he's going to be a strikeout machine like he always is. I mean, he has devastating stuff. Whether he wins the games is completely different. It all just depends on if he locates the ball down. If it's up, hitters are just going to absolutely smash. But you got to think with the way they improved this offseason in the AL Central, not too many teams really improved a lot.
Yeah.
Enough to overtake what they have.
Yeah.
So they should be there in the end.
And at my number 4, I got the Cincinnati Reds. We got them slotted at number 4 because of their just solid lineup and solid rotation. I mean, with that lineup, you got Brandon Phillips, and with the addition of Shin-Soo Choo, a great leadoff hitter. That was a great trade by them by acquiring, finally Reds fans out there, finally acquiring a leadoff man. They have not had a solidified leadoff man the past couple of years, and I think that's really hurt them because they haven't had that guy to get on base early in an inning or get on base when they had 2 outs to try to get that middle of the lineup some production. And they signed Ryan Ludwig again to I think a 3-year deal, and he had a great postseason, great end of the year last year. He hit a lot of home runs and hit a lot of doubles. So I think with Ryan Ludwig, Shin-Soo Choo, Jay Bruce, and Joey Votto, that's just a great lineup to have there in Cincinnati.
You got to think the signing of Shin-Soo Choo made Joey Votto very happy.
Yes, finally Joey Votto has someone to look at when he's hitting in the base. When he's hitting, he can actually look at something on base, and there's a player there.
Exactly. What do you think about their bullpen situation? I mean, they have Jonathan Broxton.
Yep, he's sliding over to the closer role after Aroldis Chapman's probably going to move into the starting role.
Do you think Aroldis Chapman's going to be the starter that everyone makes him out to be, or the fact that the 100-mile-an-hour plus thrower has to go more than a few innings now?
Well, you got to look at Aroldis Chapman compared to Justin Verlander. They both can throw 100 miles an hour. Verlander eases his way into the game, throws 100 miles an hour towards the end. Usually starts out around 94, 95, mid-90s, and then works his way up. Aroldis Chapman, he just, right when he gets out there, he just goes for it. He just goes for the 100 miles an hour cheese. But that's going to take a toll on him through the mid part of the season, and you know he hasn't solidified himself as being